Why is everybody considering people like me in my age boomers? What do you guys keep thinking that we're boomers? When do you think we were born? I was born in the 1970s. I was raised by boomers. And I can tell you right now, the whole reason all this shit still works, all the things that are going on right now, everything Biden's fucking up, and why things are still fucking working is because people like us, Generation X, is keeping this whole fucking thing going. And here's why. It's because we were raised by fucking boomers. We were raised by the people who you think we are. All right? Take my dad, all right? Here's his philosophy, right? This is how we were raised. The man had no tolerance for shit because he understood some very fucking simple things about this world. Take his philosophy on bullying. Like when we were kids, we get fucking bullied all the time, right? There was no anti-bullying programs back when we were kids. No, even the teachers didn't give a fuck, right? You had to get tough or you're just gonna get your ass whooped all the time. That's how we handled our shit. Take this one instance, man. I was in the 7th grade. My 7th grade year was I had a fucking war cloud over my head. I was always getting in fights. I was always getting picked on. I wasn't that big. And the big motherfucker was always picking on me. Brian. Are you watching, Brian? Here's the fucking thing. Brian used to always knock me over on the fucking bus all the time. He would sit in front of me and he would knock me down as soon as I walked by into the seat. And then he would take off and go. So I come home from school on a Friday. My dad's sitting there and he says, "What the hell's the matter with you?" And I said, "Well, Dad, I'm getting picked on at school." And he says, "What?" And he goes, I'm getting bullied, Dad. This big guy, man, he's always picking on me." My dad look at me and he'd sit down, he'd pull out a pack of Winston's and fucking light a cigarette right there in the house. He'd fucking smoked in the house like he owned the motherfucker. And then he'd crack open a 16-ounce buckskin and he'd look at me and he'd say, "Dan, the way I see it, you got two choices." He says, "You can go tell a teacher and be a pussy about it, or you can just fucking do something about it." My dad, he's not the kind of guy that was ever going to go call another kid's dad. He's not going to say, you know, he's going to go in there and say, "Hey, sir, the boys, we have a problem. We need to get the boys together and see if we can resolve this." Fuck no, my dad would never call another kid's dad because my dad understood one fundamental principle about this world. My dad knew that there were assholes in this world and there's nothing you can do about it. There's always going to be an asshole. And if you call the kid, if a kid's being an asshole, you call his dad's probably a fucking asshole. So here's the thing. My dad would turn our kitchen table into his own personal war room. And we'd spend the whole weekend training and strategizing how we were going to take this motherfucker out. And his speeches to you, no, they were not inspiring. His speech to you was like Patton on June 5th. And if you don't understand that reference, I don't think we'll be friends. He would tell you, "Listen, you're going to get your ass whooped. This motherfucker is going to kick your ass, but you have got to take him out. You got to figure out a way to take this motherfucker out." And we did. And one of the things I learned in that situation, too, you just never know who your fucking allies are going to be. I'm 7th grade. Brian knocks me over. He's walking off the bus. And then there's this big gap, right, between the line getting off the bus. And I finally pick up my shit and I start walking out. Our bus driver, Gene, I don't know where that motherfucker is right now, but Gene was a World War II veteran. That motherfucker killed Nazis at one time in his life. And now he's driving our bus. Gene, as I'm walking up there, fucking Gene, he reaches over, with that handle, and he pulls that handle to shut the bus door. And I stop, and I thought, oh, God, I'm in trouble. Gene looks at me and from up under his bus, and he just gives me one of these. That's all Gene did. Gene knew the shit. He knew what I'd been through. And he's one of those guys that wasn't going to stop a fight. He wouldn't, unless there was blood on the floor of his bus, he wasn't going to do shit. Gene, give me that look. Like that. Just give me that nod. And then he opened the bus door. What that nod said to me is Gene was my ally. And Gene's also saying, whatever the fuck you're about to do, I didn't see a thing. That's why shit is a lot different. That's why you guys sit here and think that we're these weird old boomers. No, we're tough motherfuckers. We are what keeps it all going. We're the ones, the toughest generation since our grandfathers freed this world from tyranny. That's us. So don't mistaken who's a boomer and who's a Gen X. The boomers are great. We love them. They're our parents. But I'll tell you who's keeping shit going. It's fucking us.